All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to do some value study practice. So we're going to practice using value. We're also going to practice using our materials, which today is going to be oil pastels. So you're going to have a worksheet, and you're going to have two oil pastels, a light and a dark. So if they do not match exactly the two colors that I'm showing you with, it doesn't matter if I give you a black and a white instead of a light and a dark. As long as you have a light and a dark color, you are good. So we're going to read to complete a task. So we're going to read the directions and then follow them. So create a value scale going from the lightest light to the darkest dark on the bar to the left. So on this bar over here, you are going to make the top as light as possible. Now when that comes to oil pastels, that means using your light color but still filling it in. So you're still going to press hard. You're just going to fill in that space completely with light. You're going to do the same thing on the other end with your dark color. So dark color at the bottom, light color at the top. Now what you're going to do in the middle is you're going to blend. So this one's going to be mostly light with a little bit of dark, and then you're going to blend them together. So you can use your finger and blend. So see how that's just a little bit darker? And I'm going to do the same thing with the next one. So I'm going to put the light, I'm going to put a little bit more dark, and then blend. So that one's not quite dark enough, so I'm going to add a little bit more dark, blend with the light. So see how that's a little darker. So I'm going to slowly work my way down. Now as I get down to the bottom, I might want to start with dark and add a little bit of light so that it's just a little lighter. So I can blend with my finger, or I can blend with the oil pastels. So then, start with dark, put a little bit more light. It's much easier to get it darker than lighter, so always start kind of light and work your way dark. So there we go. And blend. So now that one's a little too dark, so I add a little bit more light. This one needs to get a little darker until each one is a separate value. So now I've got my value study done. Now I need to use the shapes on this page to create value, to create space. I need to make them look 3D. So number one is to look at the objects at your table, accuracy. So now we're going to look at the object on your table. So if you look closely, the light is coming in from this direction right here. And where the light hits the ball, it is very light. So it's the lightest values are up here. It slowly starts to get medium as it comes down. It's medium in this kind of area here, and then it slowly blends until it gets to the darkest area. You also notice, you'll see the cast shadow on the table. That is the shape of your object. So you've got the values inside, the light, the medium, and the dark, and then the cast shadow underneath. Alright, so now that you have looked at that sphere, we're going to follow the next direction. Draw an arrow where the light is coming from. So you're going to draw an arrow where the light is coming from. You're going to start light and gradually get darker. So you're going to do the light area first. So it's light over here where the light is hitting, and then it slowly gets darker. So then I'm adding just a little bit of light over here, and then it's really dark on the opposite side from where the light is. And then I'm going to slowly blend in. So then I'm going to blend. Now the thing with oil pastels is you want to make sure you have plenty of oil pastels on the page. If you try to blend too little, it's going to get that kind of weird whitish paper color. You don't want to see the white of the paper through the oil pastel. So you blend. You want it to feel oily. If the paper doesn't feel like oily, you don't have enough oil pastel. So now I have gone from light to dark. I've blended so I don't see those lines where those values stop. Alright, so then what's next? I've created shadows that use all the value scales. So I have light, I have medium, I have dark. Draw an outside shadow. I'm going to draw that outside cast shadow using my dark on the table. So now that sphere is done. So now I'm going to do the same thing with the cylinder. So now let's look at the cylinder. right, so now let's look at the cylinder. How is it different from the sphere? You will notice the top is almost all light except for this little lip right here. The light, once again, is coming from this direction. So you'll see that this right here is where the light is, and then it slowly gets darker until it hits the darkest darks back here right at the edge. So unlike the sphere, which got light to dark this way, cylinders always go light to dark horizontally, so that there's kind of these vertical stripes. But you don't want to see stripes, you want it to slowly fade going across. Alright, so once again, I start with my arrow, I start with my light. Where it's light, I put my dark. Where it's dark, I kind of scribble in a little bit where it's medium so that I can blend the two together. Make sure I have plenty of oil pastel. And then blend so that I don't see the lines. And blend. And then I look at the top, there was that little bit of a shadow right over here, and then it was light. So now I've got my cylinder. And then the last step, once again I've got my light, my medium, and my dark. And then once again, I have my cast shadow. Alright, so now let's look at the cube. Alright, the last shape we are looking at is our cube, or our box shape. You will notice that, unlike the other shapes, there are hard lines between the values, so it doesn't fade from one to the other. Since our light is coming from this direction, the side that it hits is light. That entire side is the same value of light. Then, if you go over here, this is all medium. Now it's a lighter medium, but it's definitely darker than that top value. And then down here is our dark. This is the darkest value. Once again, it's got the cast shadow on the table. That is dark as well. So we've got our light, our medium, and our dark. There is no blending in between. The lines are nice and heavy. So now that we've looked at that cube, now we're going to draw an arrow where the light is coming from, look at the light side, so the light is hitting the top, so that top is light, then do the medium side, and blend. See how I'm over blending a little bit here. See how that doesn't look good? It's because I don't have enough oil pastel, so I need to put more oil pastel on. A little bit more dark. See, now when I blend those two together, now it's starting to look that medium. And then my dark side. See how with the cube, it doesn't blend. See how with the sphere and the cylinder, it blends between them because it's round. Cube isn't round, so those sides stay nice and straight. They don't blend from one to the other. And then my outside shadow. Alright, now if you got any on your table, you need to go clean it up, but make sure that you have lights, mediums, and darks and that all of your shapes are accurate.